Hello, my name is Rohit Chaudhary. I am the CEO and co-founder for etechies.in. We are a tech support, service and repair company for digital devices. This is a business that we have focused on the Indian domestic market. We started up with this idea way back in April 2010 when we incorporated the company, and ever since then it's been exciting times for us. Very briefly, I come from a corporate background. I did my MBA from Institute of Rural Management, Anand, way back in 91-93, and ever since then I've worked across five different organizations, very diverse functional areas that I have gone through. I've worked in FMCG consumer marketing programs. I have worked in commercial activities. At a point of time I was in futures trade. I used to trade cocoa futures on London International Financial Futures Exchange and New York Stock Exchange. I moved back into India in 2001, and that is the time I joined the sunrise industry, which was the ITES sector. Then we set up and incorporated etechies.in. December 2010 is when we actually did the beta launch in Delhi NCR market, and ever since then we haven't looked back. I think this has been a great time from a timing perspective. Indian consumers and Indian small office, home office businesses actually needed dependable professional support on tech support services and repair, which was largely being provided by local technicians, a very fragmented, disorganized segment in the Indian space. Today we happen to be in 6 cities, namely Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai and Hyderabad, and we have high promises in terms of growing into other top cities as well. We hope that we will be available in virtually any major city that you could actually think of in the time to come. So we have great plans about etechies.in. We are growing about 10 to 15% month on month. We started with 3 employees 2 years and 9 months back. Today we are roughly about 350 plus employees spread across these 6 locations. So I think what we've phenomenally done well for ourselves as a company is cater to a uncatered demand of the consumer and the small office, home office segment. At the same time, we have created employability where there was underemployment. So most of our workforce, if you actually look at it, was working in shops, was working in small proprietary establishments. They did not have much of a future. That is the reason hardly anybody leaves us. Having said that, creating employability in an underemployment stage, I think we have done very well in terms of hiring the skilled workforce, which was absolutely unhireable by the larger industry. In the absolute sense, like I said, we started from scratch. Even today, 2 years and 9 months later, you hardly have any semblance of a competing brand outside in this particular market. So we realized very early on in our growth story that we needed to create strong association in the minds of the consumers and the small office, home office segment about a brand's availability of giving a dependable, qualitatively differentiated service. Ever since then, like I said, 2 years, 9 months is not such a long time, but we have grown very rapidly. Our uptake on the consumers and the SOHO segment has been phenomenal. People have accepted us. Numbers perspective, we were 3 employees when we started up. Today we are about 350 employees. From an absolute percentage growth perspective, 2 years, 9 months back, we were probably just about starting up. So you can well imagine a startup with 0 revenues. Today we are very well hoping to close this financial year within 15 to 17 crores in revenues, which is from a comparative perspective last year to this year, which is almost like 400-500% growth. Me, I think the derived services market in India is in excess of about 10,000 crores per annum, and this market is increasing on a compounded annual rate roughly about 15%, which is the pace with which the hardware market is increasing. And given the overall economic scenario, India is still a market which is fairly insulated with whatever happens outside, because we have a very strong domestic consumption. We have a very strong domestic production. So to that an extent, we are still a very solid growth story. I will always say this, even when we are going to be 1,000 crore company, I will always say that the story for us is not going to end. When we are going to be 1,000 crore, we would aspire ourselves to be a 10,000 crore. So today we are a very, very small company. Yes, we are building awareness. Yes, we are building a great and we are addressing a great need in the market, and we are dealing with a large number of technical issues. Just to give you an example, we deal roughly about 1,000 technical tickets or technical issues of consumers on a daily basis. We handle close to about 6,500 devices. We repair these devices on a monthly basis. These are not small numbers by any chance, but these are very, very insignificant numbers compared to what we will do in the future. And when we arrive in that particular stage in future, I am very sure my sight and my vision is going to be looking much more beyond that particular stage. Strong reasons for me to come back into India was a lot of this good stuff that started in 91, 93 actually had started delivering productive results to the larger citizenry of India. Suddenly there was a Coke, from a very visible perspective. Suddenly there was a Pepsi. Suddenly there was a rise of Indian multinationals. So there was Aditya Birla Group which was rising, and it was going places. Suddenly we had all talks about Tata going out and acquiring major brands that we could have never even thought about. Indian companies going out and acquiring those brands like a Range Rover, Land Rover, Jaguar. So aspirationally, I think a lot has changed in 20 years time frame, even more than 20 years I would say. But a lot has changed, and I think that growth story has had a impeccable mark on my personal growth. Obviously, as an individual, as a citizen of India, my whole aspirations have changed. So that whole belief, is related directly to the dramatic size of opportunity that India is addressing today. And I don't want to limit my personal goals any bit less. This to my to my colleagues, to my friends, that I've had a great time setting up a company. I had a great time creating value for not just for myself, but for all my colleagues, all my employees, all my vendors, all my partners. And this has happened, and I think it has happened seamlessly because of a great structure of policies. Better than this to describe, this is a great time, great opportunity. Ecosystem probably has moved almost 180 degrees from what it was 10-15 years back to now. There are great success stories that have been written about, talked about. Make My Trip is a great example of how an India startup can actually go and list $1 billion IPO in the US, and very soon you will see companies, more India-centric companies like a Just Dial going out and doing an IPO. Great success stories, I can keep on recounting. So there is a lot of innovation happening, and that innovation is being recognized.